Hey, Carrie Howell here from Cornell University Wellness Program. I'm here today to talk to you about staying active and staying outside during the cold winter months. So when it gets cold and the mercury starts to drop, what do? Do you either bundle up and stay inside and peek outside until the flowers start to sprout and the grass starts to get green again? Or do you want to put on some layers and head outside and go enjoy it with family, friends? Just live and love in the moment of being in the snow and the cold. So whether you like to sled, ski, run, bike, ice skate, hike, camp, snowshoe, you name it, you've probably got things that either you've been wanting to do but weren't quite sure how to dress right for them so that you stay warm, or things that you like to do but maybe you're outside and you get a little bit cold while you're doing them. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips, a little bit rapid fire over the next couple minutes that'll hopefully get you either out the door for the first time or help you to stay cozy and warm while you're enjoying your favorite activities. First of all, layers. Layers trap the warmth, and when you're putting on or taking off a lot of layers, it gives you that option to do those things as you heat up or cool down during the activities that you're doing outside. So I definitely recommend lots of layers. And what does that mean? Well, when it's around 40 degrees, then you're looking to have a base layer and something that's a shell. And when it starts to drop even lower, around the 20s, then you're looking to have a base layer, one or two middle layers, and also then a shell on top of it. And when it gets really cold down into the 0 or negative degree temperatures, then again, adding more layers. So a base layer, two or more middle layers, and a shell will keep you warm during most activities. Check in before you head out, meaning how cold is it? Pull up that weather.com, figure it out. Is it windy? Check not just on the temperature, but check on what's called that real feel temperature. If it's windy or it's precipitating in the moment, you're adding that onto the actual temperature that's outside to check for the real feel temperature. Make sure that you dress for real feel, not the temperature that's just showing on the thermometer. And consider the heat of activity that you're doing. So if you're doing something like sledding, where you're going to be hiking up a hill and getting pretty warm, but then followed by a period of time where that wind's going to be in your face when you're actually sledding down the hill, and maybe standing there for a little bit. So you're going to be fluctuating between being very active with a lot of your body in movement generating heat, with periods of time where your body's not moving very much. So you want to dress appropriately for the heat of the activities. Having activities that are constantly warm, like running or biking outside during the snowy, colder temperatures, you're going to generate a lot of heat, so less layers are required. Activities where they're moderate in intensity, like hiking around the base of Buttermilk Falls, or hiking around the base of Treeman, where there aren't a lot of hills, then you're going to need to layer up a little bit more because you won't be generating as much heat. Although if you're climbing to the top of Buttermilk Falls along those side trails, if they're open, then you're going to need to take off some of those layers as you go. So dress appropriately, multiple layers gives you lots of options. And I'm going to actually show you a few of those layers so that you'll know what I'm talking about. So right now I've got on base layers. So I've got a base layer for the top and a base layer for the bottom. And what they actually look like up close is this top base layer. It's one of my favorites and go-to. It's synthetic. It's a soft material on the outside and soft on the inside, and it actually does have some fleece there on the inside, which is awesome, makes it a great base layer. It does hug the body some, which allows it to wick away the sweat, and that's what we want. So synthetic or wool or down, those types of materials are really good options for layering materials. Whereas cotton always gets a bad rep, and that's because it sucks up the moisture and it doesn't wick it through to the outside outside, and so you can get cold when you're actually at the bottom of that sledding hill waiting for some other friends. So cotton, not the best option. Synthetics, great options for all the different layers. And natural materials, meaning like your wools and your downs. So beyond the layer that I just showed you, my bottom layer is a tight or a legging. It's pretty tight again, right to the legs, okay? You can have one that's just a single layer, or you can have one that, this is another of my favorite go-tos. It's soft on the outside, and it also has that fleece line on the inside. So it's kind of considered a double layer, okay? So for the activity that I'm gonna go do today, which is running around outside and throwing some snowballs with some friends and family, I'm gonna have that intermediate where I'm stopping, going, generating a lot of heat, running around, throwing snowballs, and stopping again. So I'm gonna plan on layering up quite a bit, but then being able to drop some of the layers as I go. So right now outside, it's in about the 20s for me here. So I'm gonna add a couple more layers. So I've got my base layers, right? So now I'm gonna add an additional layer on the bottom. So here's my second base layer. These have zippers on the legs. I always like that. Easier to get in and out of those. And I'm gonna add my second layer for the top. Now this one is a nice fleece layer, which is awesome for warmth and for wicking. And it's terrible for keeping out the chill of the wind. So, something to think about. If it's windy or not windy. There's my second layer on the top. Now what about for my feet? Before I get so many layers on the top that I can't bend over, right? So, we're gonna put on a base layer of socks. Okay? Put those up over my tights. Base layer, again, base layer always hugs tight. And then a second layer for the feet. So this is a wool base layer. Showing off my feet. Put those right over the base layer. Keep my feet nice and toasty warm. Right? What about the top part right here? So most of our heat goes away from our body through our hands and through our head. Okay? Also our feet. So extremities, we gotta cover those up. 1 or 2 layers, depending. Okay? And making sure that our little things like our fingers and our ears are always covered as well. So, depending on how cold it is and the activity that you're doing, you're going to be wearing things like gloves, right? So a thinner, tighter hugging layer. Some people prefer having their fingers separate. Some people prefer the mitten style. The mitten style will get your hands and your fingers a little bit warmer because your fingers are together, okay? But if you need to grip things, depending on the activity that you're doing, then you're gonna want something where your fingers are separate. So I'm gonna put these on just a little bit because I won't be able to lace up my boots if I have these on. What does that outer shell layer look like for your hands? Depending on the activity that you're doing again. If it's skiing, something like that. An outer shell layer like these, fuzzy lining, will help to keep your hands really nice and toasty warm. Okay? What about the head? Okay? So I've got a really thin, this is super thin, okay, shell for a hat. depending on, again, the activity that I'm doing, if I'm running or if I'm snowshoeing, which expends a lot of energy that builds up a lot of heat. So this may be all that I want or need when I'm out there, even if it is 20 degrees. Okay? So, put that hat on. Easier said than done sometimes. There we go. Cover the ears. Make sure those ears are covered. Gotta have something that either has little parts on the side where they come down over the ears, or that it's just long enough so that it covers the ears. Okay? So again, it's about 20 degrees outside there. I'm gonna be throwing some snowballs. I probably want even more of a hat, right? So, either have a thicker hat, a little fleece line going on here, or something that covers those ears, right? Little ear patches on the side, wool type one. For me right now, I'm gonna put this one on. There we go. I got two hats on. Woo! I tell you, it's starting to get warm here. Okay, so we're gonna add one more layer because it is windy outside. And so we've got our bottom fleece layer, synthetic, wicking one. We've got our middle fleece one. We're gonna put another middle layer on that'll help to cut that wind down. We want some sort of a wind stopper, windbreaker, that also is breathable. Mine's a high-vis yellow because if I'm doing things like biking outside or running on the side of the road, safety first, always safety first. High-vis yellows, high-vis greens, high-vis oranges, so that you can be seen and you can see other people. Also, so in saying that, if you're going out at night, carry a flashlight. This also has reflective material. So be seen, see other people, and safety first, if you're gonna be along the sides of the roads. So now I've got base layer, two middle layers, okay? And then what? I'm gonna be throwing snowballs, gonna be getting wet. I want to make sure that I wear something that's going to give me a little bit of that waterproof factor. So, for that, I've got my last one right here. So this is a shell, waterproof. It's long, so if I fall on my butt while I'm running around throwing snowballs, my butt's covered, half of my legs are covered, so it's really useful. It's one of my go-tos. I love it. Okay? Additionally, I'm going to put on the last layer right here, my snow pants. These also are waterproof. So I can stay out there for hours throwing snowballs. I'm gonna start sweating here pretty soon. Almost ready. Woo! Okay, we got base layer, two middle layers, a shell. Must be about 20 degrees. If it is around 0 degrees, then I would add another middle layer. This one is a down vest, keep the core warm. Or I would wear an outer layer of down, right? Big puffy. This will take you down to like -10, -20 degrees, okay? But that down one is not that durable. So if I'm gonna be doing something where it's really cold and I need durability, or it's really windy and I need durability, then got some sort of like a ski jacket, okay? That's waterproof, really puffy, insulated, and very durable. So whether you're doing something with these in the winter, these, or something like these, can you tell I like the winter? Then I think we've gone over a lot of different key points for getting you out there and staying warm, depending on whatever activity that you want to do. I'm going to put my boots on. As far as boots, that final layer, make sure that they're waterproof or get some waterproofing stuff for them. They should be pretty thick, and you do want them to have something like a thin slate to keep you really warm. So I'm putting on my last part here. Before I get to go out and have some fun. Lace up those boots. All right. Woo! I hope you've enjoyed this short little video on tips for staying warm and staying outdoors and being active in the snow. I sure enjoyed making it for you. And take a look at this. We've actually got a whole lot of snow out here right now. So come on outdoors and play with me. Let's go enjoy it. Throw some snowballs.